The Red Dirt D&D podcast is brought to you by Pro Laser Cuts. The Oklahoma company provides pre-made and customizable design laser-cut dice towers, tokens, and more developed by a gamer for gamers and now available to enhance your tabletop game. Pro Laser Cuts products can be found at many Oklahoma City area game stores, local events, and now available online at prolasercuts.com. That's laser and cuts with a Z, Pro Laser Cuts. Welcome to Red Dirt D&D. I'm Michael Cross, and I play Gideon Block, a paladin with a tragic past.
I'm Kiri Hester, and I play Poppy Tealeaf, a Habbo and Halfling druid searching for a new life.
I'm Johnny Payne, and I play Zonimus Dinar, a half-elf rogue with a past he can't seem to escape.
I'm Brooke Bullock, and I play Mak'ren Stoneshaper, a young dwarf sorcerer setting out to understand his own arcane gifts.
And I'm Ash King, your dungeon master. Join us now for Tales from the Caliban Frontier. In the quiet of the chapel at the last stop, Gideon, your thoughts have been swirling 100 miles a minute. So many old memories, so many old scars have been picked at. It's almost as if Daga herself is walking you through these moments, these things that may serve as sticking points once you set out to follow the oath. Your mind turns to Felix Holman, the man who destroyed everything. If he and his boys were here before you, right now, in this very moment, what would you do?
I feel the question come upon me. I knew that night I did the right thing. Because I didn't kill Holman. I just wounded him like I'm supposed to, but it didn't stop him.
You're taken back to that moment when he was in your home and you were all in your dining room. He spins his revolver, bringing it down low. You tried to put me away, Block. For that, I'm gonna put you in the ground.
Holman, you don't want to do this. Just walk away.
Oh no. The time for walking away. Home path, Block. Roll initiative.
Ooh.
What'd you get?
I got an 8.
An 8? Okay. He got a 19.
Oh, goodness. Oh, boy.
He kind of levels his revolver and I'm gonna enjoy this. It's gonna be a 15.
Am I actually doing this with my current AC or with...
that
misses.
Your current stats. Woo! This may be a vision from your past, but you have the knowledge and skills that Daga has gifted to you. It's almost as if she is saying, what if you could go back? What if you could relive that night, knowing what you know now? What would you do differently? But he fires, and you, split second, duck out of the way, the bullet going over your head. It's your turn, Gideon.
I pull out my pistol that, at the time, I didn't have. I look down, the symbol of Daga on its hilt, and I fire to kill with a natural 20.
Woo!
Which?
Roll your damage.
12 points of damage.
12 points? Alright. You blast him back, hitting center mass. He touches the bullet wound in his chest and pulls his hand back, seeing the blood there. Well, I see that's how this is gonna go. He fires back. And that will be a 17.
That's it.
Alright. For 6 points of piercing damage. And he fires back, clips you in the shoulder. This may be a memory, but the pain feels real. And it is your turn, Gideon. What are you going to do?
And my thoughts turn to Karen, who's with our child, our baby, in the other room. And all I can think is, I can't let him get by me. And I fire again. But I'm shaken. That is only an 11.
Almost as if by the grace of the goddess, you feel that your hand is shaking and you feel that this shot was not good enough. But you feel this warmth and this presence takes your hand, steadies it, and your aim is true.
7 points damage.
7. Alright. Felix takes another mighty blow. It upsets him, definitely, but he also seems to have almost an unholy will to keep pressing on, to keep pushing your resolve. And he fires again. However, with the 2 hits that you have landed, with this damage you have already done to him, he misses. It's your turn.
I feel the warmth of Daga in me, and I feel like I can actually do something special. And I bonus action Shield of Faith.
It's almost a glowing light, a glowing mantle settles on your shoulders. It almost makes you too bright to look at, as Felix is having to turn his eyes away, this bright sunlight that has enveloped you.
And I fire again with a 12.
With 12. Again, you feel somewhat unsteady about your shot, but again, with this reassurance that all will be well, you strike true again.
8 points damage.
8. Alright. He is very bloodied. His resolve is starting to fade. The vision is starting to flicker very heavily, but he gets at least one more chance. That will be an 18.
That will miss with my Shield of Faith.
Yes. Again, you are almost too bright to look at. He just fires wildly at your form, but it's almost as if this holy light envelops the bullet and turns it to ash.
And I lower my weapon. I say, Holman, I've got you beat. You can't win. Just go, and you can live.
Give me a persuasion.
18.
This shadow, this shade, looks up at you and slowly begins to fade, turning into wisps of smoke and dissipating as if on the wind, leaving, standing before you, a woman. At first, you think it might be Karen, but after a moment, it solidifies, and you see a woman before you, a shining light on her brow, almost too bright to look at, but she has this long, flowing veil that she pulls a little tighter around herself, bringing the light down just enough so that you can see some features. Again, very, very difficult to look at, very difficult to make out. Humanoid, but not human, as she tilts her head very curiously. Have you uncovered what makes you worthy, Gideon Block?
I knew it then, but I lost it. I lost it when they died. I lost it when Holman killed them. I lost it when I slipped into a bottle and never got out for 14 years. It's mercy. And now I know what I have to do. It's not going to be easy. These tenets are not going to be easy, my lady. But I will follow them, and I will bring justice to this area, but also mercy.
She very gently leans down, and you can feel these hands just gently cupping both of your cheeks, and her forehead leans to very gently touch yours. You kneel before me as Gideon Block, the man for whom great evil was done, but yet you still have the capacity to extend the hand of mercy, even unto the man who destroyed your world. For this reason, you are worthy. I claim you as one of my champions. And she very reverently kisses your brow, and it's almost like an electric shock goes through your body. It's that pure, primal connection to the divine that you feel now, deep in your bones. And you understand, when you swear your oath, that's just a formality. But if you were to break any of those tenets, this connection would be gone in an instant. The light would fade, and you would be that same dull creature that crawled into a bottle 14 years ago. And your vision goes to black a little bit. It's so intense, it's so hard to maintain your concentration, to maintain your vigil, and you feel your body slump. but you're caught. And opening your eyes, you see that Riza is there. She has you by the shoulders, and you are back in the chapel as the sun begins to rise. Miss Poppy. A most interesting evening. At first, you thought, hey, I'm just gonna... Yazgash is going to teach me druid stuff. It's gonna be great. It's fine. And then following the consciousness of this little mouse somehow has pulled you into your own past and into that moment where you knew you either had to act or that everything was going to stay the same. You're up in your room, having just learned about your arranged marriage to that awful Byron Sweetgum. What are you going to do?
So I've loosened my corset, but I can't really get it quite all the way off by myself. But I don't want anybody else in the room right now reeling. Thoughts just going through my head and thinking about how my entire life has been planned for me, and it didn't matter what I did. It didn't matter what I did. This was always the plan. This was always what it was going to be, and it was always going to be whatever would benefit my father and benefit the family and do the things that needed to be done. And why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't that be exactly what it is? I know my father better than he realizes, and people aren't people. People are tools, and I am not a person. I don't get to be who I want to be. I just have to do what I'm supposed to do, and that's not what I want to do, and I can't really find any way out. And I open the window, try to get some air, and I see the moon is just bright. It's very bright, and there's some clouds kind of coming over the moon, and it smells like that smell right before it rains.
Yeah, that heaviness in the air and that moisture.
And I can feel like it's going to start raining, and I shouldn't be sitting here with my window open, and I am just trying to get as much out of my dress, and I'm mad because I can't do it by myself, and I can't do anything by myself, and it's just so much easier when I'm out in the garden and when I'm just by myself with the dirt and the flowers and the bugs and the creepy crawlies and the animals, and I just need to go. I need to go and at least sit where I feel like I'm in control. But I don't want to go back downstairs. They're going to see me. The house is big. It's not that. So I'm going to shimmy down the lattice on the side of the house.
Okay.
And
Give me a acrobatics or athletics, your choice.
in the corset.
In the corset, in the dress.
We'll do acrobatics because my athletics is a -1. Oh, I don't know which one of these dice are going to be bad. Okay. That's a nat 20.
A nat 20.
Woo!
Yeah, so you've done this enough times that it's old hat at this point.
Yeah.
This is not the first time that you have snuck out of your room in the middle of the night because you needed to go down to the garden to get your head back on straight.
For sure.
So you find those footholds and handholds, no problem. It's not even like you're wearing a corset. You've done this many a time.
So I get down and I'm just, all of these thoughts are just coursing through my brain, and I just feel very helpless and hopeless, and my cheeks are hot. I'm angry and I'm sad and I'm crying, and that just makes me more mad because I don't want to feel weak right now, and I feel very weak and very helpless, and there's just snot on my face, and I just start running in my little slippers that are not made to go outside, and they are made to be worn around the house and be a nice lady. But I'm running, and my feet are damp, and it starts to sprinkle, and I make it over to my corner of the garden, and I can smell the dirt and smell that upturned earth, and I just sit in the dirt and just let myself cry as it starts to really, the sprinkles turn into a little bit more of a, not quite a deluge, but it's raining enough.
It's raining. It's soaking you. It's soaking your hair, your dress. It's not an unpleasant rain. It's that very gentle kind of summer rain. And sitting there in this rain, everything feels alive. It's almost as if the plants are reaching out to you and trying to offer whatever comforts, that they can. There's a gentle voice that seems to be carried on the night wind and through just this quiet noise of the rain. Child, do not weep. Act. And you look up, wiping the tears from your eyes, because it felt good to cry. But at the same time, what good is it going to do? What's it going to change? There's only one way that it's going to change. And you, casting your gaze around, you see that on the back garden wall, there's some ivy. And this has been very persistent ivy. Every time the gardeners have attempted to cut it back and keep it from climbing this wall, it's almost as if it grows back twice as fast, to the point where they kind of gave up and have let it do its thing. And you notice it's finally tall enough to reach the top of the wall.
I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to give myself up. And I'm going to go over to that part of the wall. I'm not going to climb it yet. I'm going to put my hands on the ivy, say hello. I really want to get out of here. Please help me. I'm going to try to climb this wall.
So, having reached out to the ivy, it does seem as if it wants to help you. And so it forms itself into this very ladder-like structure. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get advantage on this check to get over this wall.
Can I use acrobatics? Or do I have to use athletics?
You can use acrobatics,
okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to parkour over this wall.
Exactly. And again, the ivy is doing its best to help you out.
13?
A 13? That's just what she needed. It's definitely harder than, climbing down that lattice.
Climbing down's easier than climbing up.
Yeah. Going down is always much, much easier because you're having to lift yourself up and your dress, it's that fine silk, but any sort of fabric, as soon as you get it wet, it's clinging to you in weird ways. It's weighing you down a little more. So it's a little harder to scramble over top of this wall, but you make it. And you kind of tumble over to the other side of the wall, and you're out basically in the fields. Because there are, around the main house, there are some kind of fields that grow the different flowers and herbs that your father's company uses to make the very fine teas. You take off. Your heart is racing as you run through the fields. The briars and thorns of the different plants are starting to snag onto your dress, almost as if it's trying to keep you here. And you hear in the background the dogs that guard the fields. They're barking, and they are hot on your trail as if you are an intruder.
Howdy friends, Michael Cross here, taking just a few moments away from Red Dirt DnD, asking you to become a patron of this podcast. Your support means we can add a lot of extra niceties to the show in the form of artwork and music, as well as supporting our cast and crew. Patrons get early access to content as well as bonus material, along with access to our Discord server. You can even get an invite to monthly Q&A sessions and DM classes, maybe even a 2-hour game session with our very own Dungeon Master, Ash King. We have 6 different monthly levels to choose, ranging from $5 to $100. Head over to patreon.com/reddirtdnd right now to show your support for this new podcast. Now, back to Tales from the Caliban Frontier.
The dogs that guard your father's fields are barking, chasing after you. It's making it very hard to tell where you're going, where you're trying to get to, but as you are about to make it to the edge of the field, you hear a voice. Poppy, don't run, stay. And turning around, it's strange. It is Byron, but under the moonlight, he looks almost ghostly. Come back. Stay with us. And his smile is wider than you've ever seen it before. Roll initiative.
Come on, Poppy. It's a 14.
A 14? Alright. Yes, so before you, Poppy, you do see Byron. Very strange, very eerie, very ghost-like. This isn't quite the Byron that you remember.
Can I do an insight or something to see if it's like Byron, but he's like secretly also evil, or if it's like an entity that is just looking like Byron?
Yeah, go ahead and give me. I will allow definitely insight at this point.
It's gonna be a 12.
12. So as you're kind of thinking about it, and you're like wondering, because you've been pretty much in the moment so far, and is it just a memory, or am I being tested?
No, Byron, I do not think I will stay. I think I will go. And I'm gonna take a couple more steps backwards.
Alright.
I'm facing him, but I'm gonna continue trying to move away from him.
Okay. Is that all you'd like to do?
Yeah.
Alright. He looks at you and he frowns. Says, if that's how you feel, I'm sorry. I can't let you go, Poppy. And he holds up his hand. You see magic swirling around it. He's gonna let out a firebolt. That'll be a 23.
Oh yeah, believe it or not, that is. But I am going to cast Absorb Elements as a reaction.
Okay, is that spell a reaction spell?
It is a reaction.
Okay.
I think I'm one reaction.
Excellent. Okay, so it will be 2 points of fire damage.
So, you said it was 2?
2. Dos.
So half to 1, or did you already have it?
I have not halved it.
Okay, so half to 1. Because I get resistance for fire for this turn.
Excellent. And do you absorb that?
I get to do 1d6 fire damage if I hit him with a melee attack.
Nice. Okay, that is his turn. What would you like to do?
That was quite rude. I thought you were a gentleman, Byron. Yeah, let's do it. And I'll do the opposite of his firebolt with an ice knife.
All right. Yep, roll me that attack.
It's going to be a 17.
17. That will strike.
So he's going... Mark that spell. He's going to take 9.
9. Okay.
Ice damage.
You form this ice knife. You know, it kind of actually it almost comes from the rain forming into this ice knife that you throw. Yeah, it hits him, cuts across his arm, and he just grips the wound tight and then looks back at you with just still that strange smile. If I cannot have you, then no one else. And he puts his hands out in a thumbs together, kind of V shape, and he casts Burning Hands. Give me a dex save.
Okay, dex save is going to be a 15.
15? Okay, that will save, so you will take half. So that is 3d6. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, ouch. Okay, so you're going to take 7 points. That is half because you saved. So 7 points of damage for you of this fire, and you do notice it singes the edges of your dress and kind of starts to burn it away a little bit, burning away some of that connection that you have to this life. But what would you like to do in retaliation?
Byron, you never wanted me anyway. It wasn't about me. It was about my father's company. It was about the things that you could do for my father and the people that you could exploit, including me. And that's just not fair. And I'm going to kind of blather on and distract a little bit and cast Blur on myself. So maybe he can't.
Yeah, you're kind of starting to, waver a little bit. That
the rain and the moonlight.
Yeah, everything's kind of shimmering and it's making you that much harder to try and hit. But yeah, he just looks at you and... I'm so sorry you feel that way, Poppy. I guess you just don't understand good business. And he will cast again. Give me another dex save. 19. Alright, so he rolled abysmally for his damage.
Oh no.
Oh shucks. It was 5, so it'll be half to 2. So you'll take 2 points of fire damage. So then he just looks back at you. So, what would you like to do?
I'm pretty good at combat by myself. How far away have I... Because I haven't moved since I initially moved.
Correct. And he has maintained, because again, everything that he's got is distance.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a good 10 feet away.
I wasn't ready for this. I didn't pack great spells. He's casting a lot of spells, right?
He's cast at least 2, and he's also shot a firebolt at you, so he's got mojo.
Byron, I'm leaving. And you can't stop me. I get to make the decisions now because I said so. And I can do it. I'm confident in myself, and I'm not going anywhere with you. And I stomp my foot really hard, and we'll go with Earth Tremor.
All right.
So it's a Dex DC 12.
Okay. All right. Yeah, he fails. So yeah, you stomp, and the earth itself just shakes.
And so he failed, so he's knocked prone, and he takes a big 4 damage.
4. So, seemingly in this moment, almost impossibly, the earth, as it shakes, it's almost as if something else is amplifying the spell and causes a furrow to open. Byron falls. And you kind of look and you see that, he just kind of puffs into this strange smoke. And looking up, the rain slowly comes to a trickle, then to a stop. The air is clean and clear, and there's just that little bit of a fog obscuring the fields as you look back across and see your home for the last time. You see those lights as they blaze, and turning away, instead of the open fields outside of Litwood, you instead see the desert of the frontier. And out that way, you spot a campfire with a familiar figure sitting next to it, but she's also joined by someone else. You're not quite sure who. Mak'ren, a wild blast of power has rung out, and you remember the chaos that emerged from that blast and how it shocked absolutely everybody. But much more terribly, you remember the cackling, the wild as up from the stone and emerging from the walls, you see some very strange looking creatures. They are smaller, look to be elementals of some sort. There are a pair of them, and they're just flitting around, causing chaos. They're almost too quick for the eye to track. But you, however, seem to have kind of an insight into them as you're zeroed in on their elemental energy. Give me an Arcana check if you'd like to identify what these things are.
Natural 20.
Natural 20. Excellent. So you've heard of these things. You've studied them a little bit. As you've had this arcane inkling, these are steam methods.
Ooh. That sounds good.
Yeah, they're creatures of air and water that has kind of coalesced into this very strange being. But you have an inkling that whatever blast of power that you let out, it has drawn these things here or awakened them, or you don't know. But it's just utter chaos now as everyone is scrambling, trying to get away from these things, as they're just blowing this scalding steam willy-nilly left and right without a care in the world. What are you going to do?
I appear as confused and shocked as everybody in the room to like what just happened. So I look first to see what the leadership might be doing. If there's any of the clan lords that are reacting, if there's any guards or anything that have come in to see what's going on in the room. There's a defensive nature that's coming up. So if one of these things comes into range, I'll basically ready in action to respond to that. But
yeah, so the problem seems to be, this was a ceremony. Not only that, this was a ceremony deep in the heart of a Dwarven enclave. If anything got to this point, that would be shocking. So no one here was prepared to fight anything. Like, the worst that someone thought might happen was that they might have to call in the guards from outside to restrain somebody who was upset. In no way was anyone prepared for elemental creatures to show up. So the leadership is basically kind of trying to get a handle on the situation because it's chaos. Dwarves do not deal with chaos very well. They like orderly, they like their forms, they like their lines. Yeah. So what the leadership seems to be trying to do is to usher everyone out. Keep calm, don't panic, everyone. Orderly line out to the exit door. We will handle these things very quickly. Just leave your workstations and go. So you have a choice to make. Are you going to follow the instructions? Or will you, as someone who can actually do something, Are you going to stay and fight?
I've made things bad enough as it is. Like, I just need to go ahead and get out of here. And then I feel like this pulse at that vest pocket and realize that, wait, what if the way that I shaped the stone, what if I could fling that and drive these things off? And so I am going to try that. I'm going to cast Acid Spray.
Okay.
Especially if I can catch two of them near each other.
Yeah, that's what you've got, because again, these steam Miffits are just kind of going just wild and crazy. Ping pong balls all over the place. But you do you wait for your opening, and you can go ahead and lob your Acid Splash at these two creatures as they're zooming around. And that is a dex save for them?
Yes, a dex save of 13.
Okay, so steam method number 1 fails. Steam method number 2 fails.
Max damage, 6 hit points.
6 hit points, okay. So that draws their attention straight to you. Roll initiative.
I rolled a modified 9.
9. Okay, so these two will get to go before you do. So their attention is turned to you. And in response to this acid that you have just flinged at them, they are going to blow out their steam breath. So I will need you to give me 2 dexterity saves, 1 for each creature.
14 and a 10.
Both actually will succeed, so you will only take half of this damage. So you're watching these things very closely, and as they just blow out this scalding steam all over the place, you do manage to duck and tumble out of the way. One of them would have been 7 points, but since you saved, that will only be 3. The second one is just going to be a single point.
Okay.
You take a little bit, this scalding steam kind of hits your shoulder, and you feel it go through the fabric of your very fine dress shirt. It hurts, but it's not as bad as if you had taken the full blast to the face. So, what would you like to do?
I'm going to try that thing again. I'm going to, once again, try to fling the acid out of my fingertips.
Okay. And they are both still together, so you can... So the first one makes a DC 11, so that is a fail, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, and the second one makes a DC 17, so he passes.
So I rolled 2 different dice this time since it was 2 different ones. Maybe it's just 1 dice? I don't know. So 4 and 2.
4 and 2? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so you get in another good splash of this acid, and it does seem to be eating away at their form and disrupting it just enough. As these creatures are created from air and from steam, and they're letting off that whistle, like a steam train. Just that, as they're hit and as their forms are beginning to discombobulate. And we'll find out what happens next time.
Red Dirt D&D, Tales from the Caliban Frontier, is Ash King as our Dungeon Master, Brooke Bullock as Mak'ren Stoneshaper, Johnny Payne as Zonimus Dinar, Kiri Hester as Poppy Tealeaf, and I'm Michael Cross as Gideon Block. Our sound producer is Mark Coughran. Our theme music was created by the cinemagician P.J. Castillo. Our incidental music comes from Jeffrey McBride. Our sound effects and additional music courtesy of tabletopaudio.com. We here at Red Dirt D&D could really use your help in getting the word out about us. If you like what you've heard, make sure and subscribe, rate us, and leave a comment. Also, tell your friends about Red Dirt D&D and share us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and reddirtdnd.com. You can also support the show at patreon.com/reddirtdnd. We have several giving levels to help us grow up big and strong. Join us next time as we go deeper into the Caliban Frontier.